knocking this country. Are you saying something against America?
Against it? I should be positively astounded to hear of anything that be said for it. Why, the whole bloody place is the most unspeakable matriarchy in the whole history of civilization. Look at yourself and the way your wife and her strumpet of a mother push you through the hoop.
Who is your daddy? Who is your daddy?
All right. Got a little black book, my poems in. Got a bag with a toothbrush and a comb in. When I'm a good dog, they sometimes throw me the bone in. This is describing exactly what I told you guys. These are the inmates. You understand? These are the paddocks of Jurassic Park. When I'm a good dog, they sometimes throw me the bone in. Got elastic bands keeping my shoes on. Got those swollen hand blues. Got 13 channels of shite on the TV to choose from. That's interesting. Swollen hand blues. Yeah, I used to get that a lot when I was in California, interestingly enough. It seemed to be like a allergic reaction for the longest time, especially when I touch shopping cart handles or the banisters of escalators, especially metal objects like rails that have been heavily touched. Stuff like that used to give me the swollen hand blues. I mean, this guy was in London or England somewhere, so it was probably the same as those cities. It was affecting something in his body, and he doesn't understand, does he? My hands felt just like two balloons. Oh, man. I got 13 channels of shite on the TV to choose from. I've got electric light. It's electricity. And I've got second sight. The cameras. But also shamanistic, what they call shamanistic qualities. Remember, shaman actually isn't bad. It's sorcerer that's bad. They put a sorcerer, they put a magus. Even magus doesn't have to... Look, these are words. You have to look up the root of them. Maga would just be what is like a breaking forth. So a magus is somebody who breaks on through to the other side. You can't make this up. I've got second sight. I have amazing powers of observation, pattern recognition. And that is how I know when I try to get through on the telephone to you, there'll be nobody home because you're in Haifa, Israel, and you're a different name probably now. You don't exist anymore. You speak Arabic fluently, and you look like a Asiatic Arab. Now you're gone. If I try to call you, there'll be nobody home. This is what these people deal with. A lot of Pink Floyd songs are about terrible women that come into his life and try to control it and take advantage of all his weaknesses. I've got the obligatory Hendrix perm, In other words, a hairstyle. Got the rock star long hair, whatever it manifests as. And the inevitable pinhole burns now all down the front of my favorite satin shirt. Got nicotine stains on my fingers. Got a silver spoon on a chain. He's got nicotine stains on his fingers because the battle of iron and flesh, or iron and clay that do not mix, spoken of in Daniel. They use nicotine to soothe it, but it makes it worse because it just feels worse without it. So you have to. I've always hated cigarettes. I couldn't smoke cigarettes. What's the use? It's a silver spoon on a chain. It's what a lot of these people go through. Like I think, yeah, I already mentioned like what's her face, Megan Fox, with that machine gun Kelly guy, that pharaonic guy. Yeah, let's go do ayahuasca. Yeah, he's like, he's my spirit guy now. And then Katy Perry gets with Orlando Bloom, and all of a sudden she's wearing like onesies, like pajama onesies with Orlando Bloom's face printed all over it, and she wears it to her doctor's appointments. And she's talking to her therapist. These are her words. I'm not making fun of her or making things up. She knows about the peh and the mouth and the eye, the ayin. She made an album where an eyeball is in the mouth, and she tried to explain it to Jimmy Fallon, and he was like, "Oh my God, I don't know what she's saying. I'm such a dumb guy. Women are so smart." These people are pathetic, and they have to have like surrogates to bear their children because they're pharaonic and Mosaic Danite blood mixing. Iron and clay don't mix. So all their drugs and all their solutions are put iron rods in your bones, in your spine, in your neck. Put a aluminum net in your brain, Neuralink. Put heavy metals in your body. That's their solution. Is metal. Isn't that interesting? Because iron and clay do not mix. Got nicotine stains on my fingers. I got a silver spoon on a chain. I've got a grand piano to prop up my mortal remains. So does Kimball Clement. Kim Clement. Told you about that Mossad agent before. You can look him up. Grand piano. They all like to sing us a song, yo, piano man. Try not to sing out of key, or however this song goes. I mean, it's repeated over and over with the piano player, with the wild staring eyes, with second sight, amazing power of observation. Got the swollen hand blues. But dog, they sometimes throw me a bone in. You understand? This is a number of people I can name that are out there, but like Hollywood people, rock stars. There's a lot of rock stars. I mean, the whole Wall album is about this, and he's building the wall. Who builds the wall? Mitzrayim, the siege workers. You build a wall to try to keep from the siege workers. It's not going to work. What happens at the end? Tear down the wall. That's Mitzrayim. Isn't that interesting? These people know. Roger Waters literally looks like a wildebeest. There's a reason, because he's a mix of Pharaoh and these Danite mosaic blood tribes that are trying to mix iron and clay. It doesn't mix. It makes their spines do weird things. And it's a battle until one side consumes the other. So you can see somebody in their life from childhood until a certain age, they'll have both the ability to express both phenotypes. They'll express one more than the other. I don't know if you can hear my stomach growling or not, but it's empty. I got wild staring eyes, and I got a strong urge to fly. Maybe an airship. But I got nowhere to fly to. Because they control the air. Ooh, babe, when I pick up the phone, there's still nobody home. And there's a TV thing on the background in that song where it's like, surprise, surprise, surprise. I don't know what show it is, but maybe somebody knows. I got a pair of Go Hills boots, and I got fading roots because they try to dye their hair to hide where they come from. And the boots thing is interesting because that Kim Clement guy was all like, boots on the ground, and obsessed with like boot symbolism. It's like, okay, you put some boots in the Ukraine, so that means that you have some Kabbalistic power there. It's dumb. It's just meant to distract people. So let me bring this up. Brigham Young again. I came across something that was very interesting. Because in my first childhood home, it was in a place called South Gate. So literally a name of a gate in Jerusalem. Everybody has a South Gate. It's where all the trash goes. They made it so that it was like 90% Hispanic, but for some reason there was a giant family of Mormons living on my street. Almost like they were looking for a certain trait to pop up amidst Hispanic people. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You understand? Look to the thumb. Remember in Seinfeld, Babu? He had abnormally long fingers, didn't he? He's a very, very bad man. Very, very bad. Babu. That's funny. Babu, I think, is like a. I think it's like an idol, like a boobah, like a boobala, like I think it's like Bambino kind of. Anyway, what am I doing right now? Oh, Brigham Young. Let's see if I. Oh, here's the video again. Here's these pharaonic people. The reason I keep showing this video, by the way, is because this is the giant family of the Danite Moses blood mixing with the pharaonic blood, pledging allegiance to the Queen of England. I don't know why I said it that way, but it's like she's still stalking the earth. Anyway, somewhere. Maybe somebody's little paper boat goes down the storm drain and her ghost picks it up and retrieves it for him. Here's your boat back, Georgie. Anyway, I don't want to get all weird. Let's take this video off. It's making me say these things. Get out of here. All right. So let me pull this back up here of Mr. Brigham Young. Crunchy, creamy cookie candy cupcake. Let's go. Oh, just blocked me. Yeah. Oops. In 1851, Young and several federal officials, including Territorial Secretary Broughton Harris, check out that man. His name is written in a book, either good or bad. We'll see. Became unable to work cooperatively. Within months, Harris and the others departed their Utah appointments without replacements being named. The post became blah, blah, blah. This is what I wanted to read right here. Brigham Young supported slavery and its expansion into Utah. Remember, that's the small ta, Utah. Remember, a yod is Yoktan? Utah is the small ta. The mark, the yod ta. That's where you get Yoda. Said this a million times. It led to the efforts to legalize and regulate slavery in 1852. It's Brigham Young. They had Chinese servants. I guarantee you they were doing deals with the Chinese. And that's how the Chinese have always owned this land, along with all the pharaonic bloodlines and all that. and led to the 1852 act in retaliation to service based on his beliefs on slavery. Young said in an 1852 speech, "Inasmuch as we believe in the Bible, we must believe in slavery." Wow, that is literally this is a blend. This is a demiurge of Moses and Pharaoh right here in a sentence. Watch this. Here's Moses. And as much as we believe in the Bible, here's Pharaoh. We must believe in slavery. You see the quote that I put on here from President Snow. A little hope is good. What was it? What does it say again? Let me look at this. Oh, I can't see it. I hate when that happens. Everything's going wrong. Whatever. A little bit of hope is good. Too much hope is bad. That's what he said. It's useful to give him a little hope. Too much hope is disastrous. So yeah, this is Pink. What's his face? Roger Waters literally described this right here when he says we must believe in slavery. He says this colored race have been subjected to severe curses, which they have brought upon themselves. 7 years later, in 1859, Young stated in an interview with New York Tribune that he considered slavery a divine institution not to be abolished because they believed that people with darker skin are sinners. This isn't a conspiracy. This is what they believe, and they get to have giant fortresses. Let me show you all over the world. These are their fortresses. Let me show some of these pictures here. Here's a fortress. It's probably granite or something. I don't know what it's made out of. And where is it at? It's somewhere. I just saw where it was. Calgary, Alberta temple. Anyway. Oh, in Alberta. That's in Canada. So we got British Columbia. These are temples. These are giant fortresses. Ontario, Quebec, Saskatchewan, Baja California, Chihuahua, Durango, Hidalgo, Jalisco. Anyway, nobody knows that song. Fortress. He shall serve a god of fortress, a god whom his fathers never knew. He will tribute it with gold. A god of fortress he shall serve. He will be a master of intrigues. He will destroy many who are called the saints quickly and without warning. He comes with all the power and lies and false signs of Satan and every false work. Peace through strength, says the mysterious king in Daniel with a stern face and is a master of intrigues. He's made an art out of invoking God. That's called DOL. He's made an art out of the deal. Tabasco. Yucatan, Costa Rica. Let me guess. Oh, fortress. El Salvador. Ooh, El Salvador. Guatemala. Let me guess. Fortress. How long do I have to do this? Go look up the documentary Hitler's Mega Fortresses. Look up fortresses in Albania. It's one of the most fortified countries in the world. They subjected it under communism. They made a Jurassic Park out of it, just like they made out of Yugoslavia. Panama, let me guess. Fortress with a giant F with gold on the top, all topped with gold. He shall lavish it with gold, and anybody who praises him, he shall give many honors and probably call apostles and give them giant temples. Bolivia. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. All over. There he is. Santiago, Chile. Santiago, Chile. Here we go. Towers and fortresses. All abominations in the eyes of Jehovah, according to scripture. Oh, Ecuador. Look at it all over the place. Oh, where is this? Peru, Uruguay, Venezuela. Oh, look, all over here. Kiev. See Germany. Denmark, Copenhagen, Copenhagen, Kaftor, Denmark, Fortress. Do you understand? Do you need any more? France, Belgium, Belgium, Belgium. Bel breaks forth like water. That is the deity of Babylon. Paris, France temple. Let me guess. A giant freaking fortress. And the Catholic Church does this too. Coptic. Orthodox. It's interesting the Catholic gets to extend its hands all over the place, while the other two have to stay put where they are. Set. Flotsam and jetsam. While the Sea Queen gets to go wherever she wants. Maritime Admiralty law. She's a pharaoh. She's feral. Rome, Italy. Oh boy, look at that one. Rome, Italy. Oh man, Russia. They don't have a picture of the Russia temple? There's only one there. That's interesting. Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Ukraine, United Kingdom, Africa, all along the coastlands in the south where more of the light-skinned ones are. Look at that, Johannesburg. Why do they call it that? Beira, the house of evil. Let's see, Mozambique. Look at that, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Cambodia, China. Wait a minute. There's one in Shanghai. Even China has one. Wow. They're not supposed to be allowed there. Huh. Maybe that's just I was always told by somebody who probably doesn't know what they're talking about that Mormons aren't allowed in China, but that's probably just a lie. So, there you go. But there's only one there. They're everywhere. 1,000 points of light. Gee. What was George Bush Sr.? 1,000 points of light. Does anybody remember 1,000 points of light? What the heck does that mean? So you know what that means. You had Trump had meetings with the Mormon church and all that. Japan. Oh, look at that. Okinawa. A giant fortress. It's interesting. We can't even build bridges in our country. How do these people get all these built? Didn't they just allegedly start in like the 1800s? They built all of these since just then? Is that what people want me to believe? Look at that. The Philippines. They're all over the Philippines. I have stories for days of the Philippines. Very, very bad stories. The Philippines are literally just like 100 clones of Epstein Island. I'll tell you that. Ooh, they're all over these tiny islands. I wonder why. Oceania. Somebody took on that name. I had a relative with a last name that has to do with calf door. After he fulfilled his mission, he called himself Oceanus. Forgot what the other two names were. Called himself a Greek Mormon type name. Like something a Greek leaning Mormon would call himself. It's really weird. Fiji. Look at that. People from Fiji. They might secretly be Mormon, huh? Look at them big old giant fortresses. New Zealand. Samoa, Tonga. Well, there we go, people. I mean, you can either watch this or you can watch anarcho-capitalists argue with whoever the opposite of that crap is. You can watch orthodox debate non-orthodox. You can watch communists debate capitalists. You can watch flat earth debate globe earth. Watch all these nonsensical, useless things that don't actually show you anything. And then there's just, I don't know. So I'm telling people, I ain't special. Why isn't anybody focusing on what actually matters? That there's giant fortresses all over the world of these people who think that the darker your skin is, the more evil you are. I overheard someone in the bus say that once, almost like I was meant to hear it. They were talking very loud for some reason in the bus. It was somebody who looked Hispanic, ironically, was the one saying the racist things in favor of whites. He was talking to some old guy who looked like my grandpa for some reason. But the phenotype, so it's the same Ashkenaz phenotype. And then this Hispanic looking, probably more Sephardic, probably Israeli Arab. I didn't get a look at his thumbs because he's just a random guy on the bus. But he's telling this man loudly so everybody can hear it. That's very odd. Unless you're me. Or any of these other 3 or 4 percenters. Maybe I'll call them that. The 3 percenters. If you're part of the 3 percenters, it's almost like it's either a spiritual thing or an actual physical thing. There's proof of these eugenics programs in cities. There's proof of priesthoods created, bloodlines created. It's all over history. It's not a conspiracy. I mean, that's what monarchies are anyway. Monarchies don't have to be bad, but monarchies are bloodline. So they're not the only thing that's bloodline. So the fact that something like this has been able to be tolerated worldwide, why are they tolerated? They think black people are destined to be slaves. They think anybody who's not white is destined to be a slave. They're cursed and I mean, am I missing something here? And these people claim to be Hebrew lineage and speaking Adamic language? Adamic language? It's like, oh. Joseph Smith. Gee, I wonder who that was. Joseph Smith. Doesn't he look like... I should look up Joseph Smith. I could probably go up here and find his name so I don't have to... Oh, there we go. What does old Joseph Smith look like? Oh, he is kind of like a news reporter, actor type guy. See, this is like just look at this phenotype. Look at that. I wonder what that ring is right there. Unknown painter. So you'll see this phenotype as the one half, and then you'll have the Alex Jones as the other. So this is like the mainstream news, and then Brigham Young is like the Alex Jones, like, listen, folks, we have to enslave people. It's a divine right. I don't know. He might say that at some point. He lives in Texas, the place of the mark. All there is land and cattle there. Have you ever driven through Texas? This man is out to devour. Do you understand? He's been tolerated in every. How did they build all of these temples that fast? I guess that's a long time, but come on, all those ones you saw on that list, and they're all fortresses, and they claim this just started in like the 1800s or something. It's like, no. This is a whole larger thing. So they had to do with why there's even border disputes over there. So the reason why Texas is called what it is and Utah, because they're both of the mark. That's why the false church is centered in Texas and the East Coast, because they're controlled by Catholics and Mormons, who are of very similar phenotypes. They all seem to have no problem with slavery. So the first place I was at, literally called Hunt Street. Hunt in the South Gate. South Gate is when the king of Israel escaped out of and got slain. Zedekiah. His sons were slain in front of him, and his family slain in front of him, and then his eyes were gouged out, and he was a slave until he died. Hunt. Sedek. Scottish Rite. Sud. Sadducees. And there's Mormons there for some reason in a 99% Hispanic neighborhood. Practicing polygamy. Nobody cares. Why are they there? Why are they living in a poor neighborhood? They probably have more money to live somewhere better. They have to be stationed wherever they're told to be stationed. So the second house I lived in, on a street called Holder, that intersected Knott and Lincoln. So the people who used to live in that house, according to my neighbor, who was a Catholic phenotype, was Mormons, a Mormon family. And then a family of these like weird, like Kabbalistic Asians. And then the person who now used to live in the house that I'm in now, has the same last name as these founders of Mormonism. I followed a false prophet for a while and was deceived. He had the same name, Kimball Clement. There's a person who had Kim in their name, but in an Asiatic Hawaiian form. Kim is supposed to be a war leader. So Utah and Texas, Esh, fire of Ta. These people worship Egypt. Oh, I forgot. There was something I saw in here. Like, Mormons started a war in our country. It's called the Missouri Mormon War. There was a war caused by these people in our country. They believe that people, the darker your skin color is. Yeah, I don't know if I finished the story, but that guy in the bus that I was talking about, that was talking to the other guy, he said, he was basically saying very loud in front of white and dark people that he believes that the whiter your skin is, the closer you are to God. So he might have been a Mormon, a Sephardic Mormon or something. They exist. And the Mormons deify anybody who claims to be Israel. And the Soviets claim to be Israel right now. They're Soviets. It's provable. Most of them try to get off on saying, oh, it was Soviet-controlled Poland is where my parents came from. I was like, okay, whatever. You're a Soviet. Okay, let's see. Far West. Ohio, Missouri. because there's something in here where it said that Joseph Smith claimed that, I think what he was reading, he claimed it was refined or reformed ancient Egyptian. Saw it somewhere in here and it tripped me out. Oh, that's interesting. Who's Stephen Markham? Doesn't have a page. They claim to observe the Sabbath, but they do it on Sunday. It's not the actual day. That's the Roman sun worship. Orson Pratt. I thought it was interesting. He reminded me of that Chris Pratt guy. Come on. Okay, here they are. Fort Laramie. Sweetwater. It's somewhere in here, but I remember reading it where they claimed they... Oh, what? When they reached Salt Lake, this guy was with a guy named Erastus Snow. President Snow. Erastus is the one who actually was talking about evolution before Darwin. And then Erastus was also a philosopher. If you look at the philosopher Erastus, the one that was friends with Luther for a while and then distanced himself. I forgot what his Erastus something. So it's somewhere in here. It said that it was like refined Egyptian. And I'm like, what? So it's like they say you need to believe in the Bible and slavery. They claim to know Adamic language, but then they're also talking about ancient. You see how they know a lot of this stuff and they're hiding it. I'm telling you it. It exposes it when I tell you it. That's why they hide it. They don't tell you this language stuff because then you would see whatever it gets exposed to light becomes light. Do you understand that if we expose something to the light, this is what it is right now. This is what I'm doing. The words do it. They hide the words from you, and they use it like Gollum uses the ring. Danish Mormon pioneers. You can't make this up. I didn't even read this. I'm just seeing this now. I promise you. Danish Mormon pioneers. You can't make this up. Who's gonna debate me on this? Seriously, where are these people? They're sitting around talking about who's twerking at the Olympics or some stupid show or oh my god, did you see they referenced the flat earth in a movie? Oh my god, let's just argue about it for a year. Meanwhile, these people who believe that you should be enslaved if you're darker than them, who started a war in our country, who has literal pentagrams, upside down pentagrams. They believe that God only has power because everything submits to him. If they can get everything to not submit to him, he won't have the power. It's the most blasphemous thing. They believe Joseph Smith and other chosen ones helped God build the earth. Nobody helped God build the earth. Messiah didn't help God build the earth. He just stood there and was a willing vessel. That's it. He was a willing vessel, and that's what we're in. We're in a fifth dimensional vessel that is meant to bring us there. These people think they can do it by themselves with their own power. You see it in every book and movie produced because it's coming out of people. These movies and books are coming out of people. They express what these people go through. Pink Floyd and all these bands, they sing about what they go through. You understand? Do I have to read the final cut? Through the fish-eyed lens, tear-stained eyes can barely define the shape of this moment in time. He's a rock star. Everybody's cheering for him. But far from flying high in clear blue skies, I'm spiraling down that's introversion, to the hole in the ground where I hide. And he talks about all his psychological defense mechanisms so he doesn't have to deal with Moses. And then he talks about a woman who took advantage of his weaknesses and then tried to take children away. Or I don't know if that happened in real life or not, but those songs he writes is expressing something that happens to all these people. They try to send women to literally just bind you in marriage. It happened with Saul and David. Saul used his own daughter. Daniel prophesies that these people will try to mix in marriages. It's referenced all over the place that they've done this. It's called eugenics. It has a name. Mormon pioneers emigrated from many countries. Denmark was one of those countries, with a large number of Mormon immigrants coming to Utah between 1850 and 1910. The migration of the Danes was initiated when missionaries, Erastus Snow and Peter O. Hansen. What does he look like? Oh, he looks kind of like Lenin. Isn't that weird? Is that not what Lenin looks like? Anyway, about Snow. That'd be funny if he looked like Stalin. I just, can you handle this? I can't. I can, I guess, because I am, right? But it just keeps going. How much more does one need? Let me see the years again. So these pioneers, 1840s to 1860s is when all this stuff started, right? How do all these fortresses get all over the world that fast? It's the same way the cathedrals get built. You understand? It's Tyrus. It's Tyrus. It's Mitzrayim. It's Put. It says it in Ezekiel. It says their whole system, the whole system of their cabal is explained in Ezekiel when he describes Tyre as a ship. It's maritime amity law. You can't make this up. Nobody has an excuse. Scripture's always been there. It's always been giving you these symbols in English. It's even amazing just in English. When you start reading it in its multidimensional language, it gives you the different perspectives of the same thing. It broadens, it expands you spiritually. You wonder why people say, sorry to burst your bubble? So this is just crazy. But in that short of time these people did this. But let me put this back up here, this Malfrin syndrome. Marfans, all right. That is Mara, which is bitterness or rebellion, and Pa, An, the people who speak bitterly. Why? Because they are unwillingly mixed with certain genetics that just make them fight within themselves. Like the whole meme of there's two wolves inside of you. That's where this comes from. One is Moses, one is Pharaoh. But Moses isn't a wolf, but you know. Look at that guy. He looks like a guy kind of looks like a couple people. Look at those features. He's a French pediatrician who first described the condition in 1896 after noticing striking features in a 5-year-old girl. Yeah, I have a friend who had a child, and I'm like, why does this child look like a ghastly, like a skeleton? It was really strange. It's like, yeah, because she has that syndrome. Because his mother has it. She's unnormally tall. She has this syndrome. your joints and stuff start messing up. She had to have 2 shoulder surgeries, replacing her shoulders allegedly with titanium shoulders. She has 2 titanium shoulders. This information would really help them, wouldn't it? But they don't know. They're in the dark or whatever reason. But yeah, I have a relative who, when they were a little girl, they were very abnormally skinny because it's the genetics trying to tell you something. It's like something's manifesting. Notice it. Notable people who have had or who have or had the syndrome, because once you either come out a Pharaoh or a Moses, you'll have least you'll have little and little of the symptoms as you divide from either. So that's why being a full-on Pharaoh actually help choose these people, because they've chosen it, like Mr. Burns. They showed this with Mr. Burns, where it's like he's like tried to do something nice for a little kid or something, and like his head collapsed, literally, like blood was coming out of his nose, and he's like, and then he took it away from the kid, and the kid started crying, and then it healed him. He goes, "No, it's actually my boiling blood and my evil that keep me alive." It's like, yeah, he chose Pharaoh a long time ago. He can't. He's gone past the point of no return. There's a point of no return for Moses too. There's a point where Moses could not. He had to do it. He's like, oh, this point of no return, and then Pharaoh's like, uh-oh, point of no return. You understand? So the symptoms go away slowly over time as you seethe into one or the other. Shemiramoth. I never heard of a pharaoh named Shemiramoth, that's for sure. So whoever this guy is, you guys can look these people up. Look at their phenotypes. They look like the various types trying to be mixed by these people. And isn't it interesting that they're notable people? They're called famous. This guy looks like Roger Waters, that same kind of wildebeest type, kind of long nose, like tall nose, and like that shape. You understand what these people were going through? It's free on YouTube. You could watch Live at Pompeii, the concert that Pink Floyd did for a video. There's no people there. It's just there's Pompeii's still bubbling. People don't realize that. Oh, it's because of volcano stuff. It's like, yeah, whatever. So tired of these people. They just cover up what actually happened there. Look at this guy. He looks like Reagan. He looks like a number of actors. I've known people with this phenotype. He looks like what's his face has a similar phenotype that I forgot his name. So this one, Flo Hyman. Jeez. She's got more problems than just that. Okay, Jonathan Jose. It's a really tall basketball player guy. Peter Mayhew. I know a number of people that look. This guy has like different features of so many people I have interacted with. Anyway, Vincent Schiavelli. Look at that phenotype. That's the same as what's that guy on CNN has that phenotype. I saw there was a guy at the cult church I used to go to that years ago with all these weird people who just all my choices of women just are the same genetic type, and it just so happens to be like. Anyway, Joey Ramone. Jeffrey Ross Hyman. Is he related to this lady? Joey Ramone. Jeffrey Roche. I think he's the one that died, isn't he? He's the one that died young. The Ramones. The Romans. The Cretan hopping. There's no stopping the Cretan hopping. Caftor. Caftor. Troy Sivan. Look at that. Just make that a little bit more Asiatic, and I know a guy that same name. What was that? The mark of the evil eye again or something? Troy in Hebrew. John Tavener. Other historical figures and celebrities have appeared on lists of people with the syndrome, but from case to case, the evidence is speculative, questionable, or even refuted. So just look at who they suspect. This is very, very interesting. Okay. Akhenaten, because of how they show him physically in pictures. Elongated skull, larger pelvis with enlarged thighs and spindly calves. Yeah, they think that they just made him look like that, and he didn't actually look like that. That's very, very dumb. I know people with that body type. That body type right there in this photo, I've seen it. They're the people with the syndrome. It's because they're mixing them. Do you understand? Iron and clay don't mix. Osama bin Laden. Journalists say it's false. Why? Go look up Osama bin Laden. All right. Go look up the House of Saud. Julius Caesar. Speculative. He tried to genocide the Gauls and the Celts, didn't he? Wonder why. Those are the two most targeted groups, or this Semite-Germanic pharaonic experiment and a Gallic Celtic Moses pharaonic. So you get Isla Nublar, Isla Sorna. You understand? You get two islands. You mean there's two islands with dinosaurs in them? Robert Johnson, American blues musician and writer. Look at his nose. You understand? Jonathan Larson. Almost kind of, there's a couple phenotypes in there. Stars. I can see a couple movie stars in there. Abraham Lincoln. Oh. His name is Abraham Incan. Akhenaten. Where do you think the Incans came from? Why are they Canaanites and also Akhenaten? What is going on? Abraham Incan. Incan logs? All right, look at his phenotype. Do you understand yet? He did not free the slaves. He just made iron ones that enslave worse when they become their final form. Niccolo Paganini, violinist and composer. Look at the phenotype. I've seen people who look like that. Michael Phelps. Gee, why do they focus on him so much? Because they want to weigh him down, don't they? Sergei Rachmaninoff. Russian composer. Finest. Oh, they're really good at piano. Fingers are just a little longer, aren't they? Joey Ramone was speculative, they say. Tutankhamun, they claim did not have it. Oh, interesting. So if Akhenaten had it, Tutankhamun came in. He was more pharaonic in spirit. So he didn't have it. That's interesting. That's the one I think that says did not. So some of these are disputed. Some of them are. But isn't it interesting the ones they speculate and their phenotypes? Yeah, so that's just very interesting. The disease was first identified by Francisco Ramirez. Ramirez are the children of Ramses. Mount Sinai Medical Center, New York City. Do you guys understand? Here, let me, I gotta read. There's one about a skin condition. I don't want you to have to look at it. But it's basically like tags all over the back. It doesn't look that bad, but yeah, I don't want to show that. But it's neurofibromatosis. It's the benign tumors that can be inside the body. They can even be from scoliosis or form in various pockets. Let's see here. On the other hand, may present early onset hearing loss, cataracts, tinnitus. I have family members that have cataracts. Tinnitus, they, I think it's able to hear the signals, but maybe it's not. Difficulty walking or maintaining balance. Yeah, sometimes I randomly have like I can walk fine, but sometimes I kind of like will lose my balance, or I've had different problems with that. But like I said, the more you form into something, the last couple of years I've becoming more and more stable. Um, because you have to choose one, or else your body will rip itself apart. You have to be hot or cold. You can't be lukewarm in this type of thing. You'll just rip yourself apart. Let's see. And then they have like certain things on their eyes. Let's see. Early life may cause learning and behavior problems. You know, I was in special education. Mild difficulty in school. 6 or more light brown dermatological spots. I got that. Um, I don't think I have the growths in the iris. Abnormal growth of the spine, scoliosis. I got a little bit of that. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going off of old x-rays. Tumors on the adrenal glands. I believe I might have some adrenal problems, so I have to work through it. You can always get rid of benign tumors, I think, in my opinion. They want to say you can't. I have a feeling you can. But if not, it's just something you have to deal with. Jeremiah might even have dealt with it. He talked about a condition he had, and he goes, "If this is a condition I have to bear with, I will bear it." Jeremiah is the prophets that these people are related to the royal house mixed with Pharaoh. So now Jeremiah probably had this condition too. And he told God, if you aren't going to take it away, it must be something that that's part of the test. You can't make this up. And I read Jeremiah not too long ago, a couple days ago. Let's see. Yeah, just benign tumors like Alex Jones's grandma, head to toe, but she lived to 90 something. So you're not supposed to. They want you to get all scared of this stuff. Let's see. Leopard syndrome. Yeah, so like certain spots on the skin too. Uh, let's see. Cosmetic and psychological issues. Yeah, because they're dealing with literally two people. They're literally dealing with an exodus in their mind. There's a Pharaoh and a Moses in there. You only get better when the Pharaoh is drowned. Literally, you're baptized. You can't make any of this up. I can't say it all. There's so much of it. I could just keep going. And these are the same statistics, like small statistics for these. It's always this, 3%ers. So there's like metabolism issues, metabolic disorders. Why? Because the Egyptians actually had a dietary system, and they thought the Hebrews' dietary system was abomination. They thought everything that Hebrews did was abomination. And likewise, the Egyptians. Do you understand? So they mix these people in marriage, and iron and clay don't mix. Iron is used to eating iron. Clay is used to eating clay. Do you understand? If clay eats iron, that is very bad. If iron eats clay, it starves to death. So that's pretty crazy. And then I meet other people who look like similar mixtures because they come from the UK or something, and just so happens they went through similar experiences with the medical system that I did and family members I know. It's like, yeah, because you're another Paddock, you're another Jurassic Park with pharaonic and mosaic bloodlines that don't mix. Your iron and clay don't mix. Iron Man. I literally saw somebody with a shirt that said Iron Reagan on it, and it was like a zombie Trump. Listen to the song Iron Man. It's gonna tell you what Trump's gonna do. Supposedly, a lot of people who call themselves Jews, they love Ozzy Osbourne. I wonder why. Ozzy Osbourne really, really loved drugs. Why? Because he probably had these symptoms also. He said people used to follow him around and do satanic stuff outside when he didn't want to deal with satanic stuff before he wanted to get into it, allegedly. Ozzy Osbourne claimed that people would sit outside the places that he was at and do satanic rituals. And one time he went out and like did something like mooned him or something. I don't know. It was something funny. Or he just went like ooga booga booga booga. I forgot what it was. It's in his biography. And he experienced weird. He tells you the experience that they put you through. They'll just send you women just to sleep with you. And you're like, where are these women coming from? And then all of a sudden you go up to the roof of the, hotel or whatever you're staying at, and there's a big party. Everybody's having like orgies and stuff. And there's drugs everywhere, and you're like, and they just seethe into it. They become Pharaoh because that's Pharaoh's lifestyle. Will Ferrell. One theory suggests that Akhenaten, a pharaoh of the 18th dynasty of Egypt, may have had homocystinuria. That's what this thing's called. See, it's all Akhenaten again. And you have them claiming that Tutankhamun, or I forgot which pharaoh it was. I think it was Tutankhamun, that most Europeans have his bloodline in their bloodline. But, only 3% probably have more of it. And then they try to literally cause you to move to the same areas as these other people so that you can be literally either a seed giver or a womb for these people. They see their own Andy Griffith and Gomer Pyle. Why'd you put that? Why did you post that in the chat? Now I'm confused. Gomer Pyle. Gomer is the father of the Armenians and the Anatolian, like the light-skinned Turks. Andy Griffith and Gomer Pyle. I don't know, that's going to be a mystery. I want to ask after the stream, probably. Yeah, I got to stop right now, and I'll probably do a fourth one, I think. Am I still going? I don't know. I'll just end this one, and I might do a fourth part. Oh, that's where when you hear surprise, surprise, surprise in the Pink Floyd song, that was Andy Griffith. That's interesting, the Andy Griffith show. That has different phenotypes. They use TV to try to get you to fall in love with certain people. Look, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it because you have to go through it. See how it's like a lot of it sounds kind of wild to people who aren't of the 3%. It just doesn't happen to them. They might not even have families that deal with it. If they're in a church, they're most likely seeing somebody. If they're in a church or a mosque or a synagogue, they're most likely coming in contact with one of these 3% people. And they're going to be kind of interesting. They're going to know a lot because there's two sides of them that want to know the truth about something. So it's almost like they can use those as sleeper. That's probably who they use as sleeper agents. Where it's like, but it's a two-edged sword. It's like you you can't determine whether they're going to activate as a sleeper agent for Pharaoh or for Moses. They have to wait. And sometimes if one of them is powerful enough, they wait because they're hoping that they finally seethe to the pharaonic blood. But there's instances where it doesn't happen, and people don't understand how powerful somebody can be in that situation when they reject Pharaoh completely. So I'm gonna start something here. What should I play? Maybe this one. That's nice. So I'll try to think if I need to make another part to this or not. If not, it's just 3 parts. So that's it. Baruch Hashem Yahweh Sarai, Baruch Hashem HaKadosh Elohim Ben Elohim Yeshua Mashiach. Amen, amen.
Excuse me, sir. What is your name?